And then I said, hey guys, do you guys want to know why all your diets are the same? And they were,
Hoi, welcome to the Dark Video series. Excited about this. I'm gonna get a better camera, but it's the Dark Video series because it's at night, and this is when I get some of my best inspiration for these types of talks. So, welcome. Uh, I do this thing called the High Mountain Early Morning Podcast, and I've been super excited about it recently. I feel like I'm starting to lightly hit the beginning of hitting my stride, and that's super exciting for me because I've wanted to do a podcast for a long time, and I haven't been able to figure it out until recently. I just kept having excuses and bullshit come up, and so this is the beginning of an era, and I'm very excited with where I'm going. Something I did the other day, I think I talked about it on the podcast, but I want to talk about it here again, is I dedicated the whole day. Oh, no, I didn't. I dedicated a couple hours near the middle of my day in the afternoon to walking around downtown. And I had one mission, which was to find a croissant. Uh, I went to a bakery, it was closed, and then I went to a coffee shop and they didn't have croissants, but I bought like a fizzy water and it was a cool coffee shop. So I hung around and read something from one of the pieces of literature they had available to me. And they've just got a bunch of cool stuff on the walls. Yeah, people like graffitied a little bit and very cool, eclectic place. So being in that type of environment, well, first off, being in that type of activity where you go out and you're kind of aimless, like you have a small goal, but a croissant, who really cares? If I really wanted just a croissant, I would like go to the grocery store or something and um, buy a thing of croissants, and then I would have croissants for days. But I like that croissants are scarce in my world. It adds value to them. So I like to get nice croissants and yeah, 3 p.m. croissant. That was my mission. So the first place was closed. Second place was cool, hung out there a little bit. And it's funny how being in an environment like that kind of kicks on your brain a little bit. So they had prices on like everything. They had this little coffee table that someone locally had made, I'm guessing, and they put it in there and they just had a price on it. It didn't even have like a official price tag. It was like a piece of tape with like $450 written on it. So you could buy the coffee table. And I thought, how cool uh, would it be to have a coffee shop where you could buy everything? And then you just continuously go around and get new stuff when it sells. You're like, oh, the coffee table sold. Now I need a new coffee table. And you go find like a cool one. Um, or these magazines sold. Now I need to go get different magazines. And then maybe if you had stuff that you really didn't want to let go of, but you still wanted to be on display, you could have a museum section of the coffee shop where it's like everything past this line or like through these doors is not for sale and you can't take it out of the room. I don't know. So then I go over to the third venue looking for a croissant. No croissants. And it's funny how I really like that coffee shop actually, but it's not a very conducive place to creativity. I feel like it would be a great place to sit in between taking sales calls and then you like walk out the door and take your sales calls. But creativity wise, I don't feel like it's the great place. It's a great place to do regimented, structured work. Like, oh, I need to get these 10 things done, da 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 da, da data entry or whatever. Um, Fourth venue, no croissants. And I just kind of was like sort of aimless, but obviously I had this little mission. But the point of the day was to really like open up my brain and do this creativity boost time. But it's funny because you can't exactly do that super regimentedly. You just have to accept that you might lose some hours and you might not get the benefit you're looking for. Like you might not get this creative boost that you're going for. But I think if you bring the right intention to it and you bring the right amount um of ease to your doing, as Eckhart Tolle would say, then you can probably reliably get some level of this benefit. Uh, no croissant, but I cave. I get a piece of pumpkin bread, and I'm in this sort of creative mode a little bit. And so I go, wait a minute, do you have butter? And they're like, yes, we have butter. I was like, okay. Do you have salt? And they're like, yes, we have salt. And I was like, layer it up. Give me all three of those: pumpkin bread, butter, salt. And super cute uh, barista girl that I need to go back for now that I remember. Um, the pumpkin bread was delicious. It was like a whole meal. It was crazy for like $5. It was so much stuff. And then I sat there. I also got help with a tarot card that I bought from a little like vending machine. I don't know if you remember, if you're my age or older, you might remember the little machines where you put quarters in and you push the thing in. And then when you pull it out, there's like a white card. And sandwiched in between the white card is something, typically stickers. But this one at the weird coffee shop that was super awesome that I will spend more time at. I don't know if I'm going to spend that much time because I'm probably going to go to the coffee shop with the pumpkin bread with the cute barista. But when I need inspiration and I don't know, transformation in my state, then like I did the other day, then I'll go to Dark Horse. Um, Dark Horse and Truckee, shout out. So I got this tarot card and it's supposed to have a reading with it. It was a tarot card and it said it comes with a reading, but the guy warned me before I put money in that some are empty. He's like, there's stuff in there, but some are empty. And I was like, okay, that's weird. That's a weird way to say that. And so it was just a card. There was no reading. So I got to pull it out and be like, hey, do you know about tarot cards? Or I didn't pull it out. I was like, do you know about tarot cards? And they're like, yeah, we know. Fucking girls. Of course they know about tarot cards. I feel like every female barista in the town I'm in uh, knows about tarot cards to some extent. So I pull it out and I'm like, what's this card? And they're like, it's the 10 of Cups. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know if I asked them. I might have asked them, do you know what it means? And if I did, they said no. And then I look it up online and I write my own description of, I don't know what I should be getting out of this card. I think it came upside down, which would make sense. But I also sort of took it as right side up, anyways. Not that you guys care about tarot cards. Uh, you could look up the 10 of Cups if you want to know. And then I walked around through town. Someone I know rode by on their bike. Um, and then I wandered into this art studio, and very unusual for me. I wouldn't normally want to go into an art studio, but yeah, walk in there, I'm looking at stuff and just really in this state where I feel super comfortable taking up space, which is very important. And I think often it's easy to go into a state where you don't feel comfortable taking up space. So I was in there looking at stuff and fully okay with not buying something, but at the same time, sort of looking for something to buy. And I found this awesome mug. So I bought this beautiful mug for like $40. And I got talking with the girl who was working there at the time, and it was just an awesome little day. And I made one connection where like we exchanged Instagrams, and then um, sort of these other mini connections with people who I saw and I kind of chatted with or didn't chat with, but we were in the same space. And I know if I saw them again, there's some little thread of connection there. Um, like I'm the pumpkin bread tarot card guy to that barista girl, and I can't remember what I talked about with the other girl, but bunch of stuff. And then on my way back, I one last stitch effort and found some horrible croissants at this local diner that I never go to because their food is just mediocre. And it was funny. I was talking to some guy who was unloading cups from the dishwasher, and I can't remember what I asked, but he went into this spiel about what they try to do at that place that I was at that I never go to for a lot of reasons. And it was so funny. It was so obvious that he was parroting these things he had been told. And he was unaware of what he was doing, to be honest. But he's just like, oh, yeah, we just like try to make people happy. And we want to have everything you want. And we just want to avoid people. We just don't want to make anybody upset. And I was like, wow, what a metaphor for the world these days. Um, and the sunset, perfect sunset, got the sunset in my eyes, perfect day. Um, Came home and did a bunch of other stuff too. And that's my story. And now, today, I feel this real boost of creativity. Like I'm coming up with ideas, and there's things that I watched a couple days ago that I'm like, oh, maybe I can do business different this way, or like maybe the business thing that I've been doing is lacking in these areas, and this other business venture is could benefit me in these other areas. And like it's more scalable and it's more straightforward and like all these benefits. So I think that that day was super high ROI because I put myself into this receptive slash creative state where I'm I'm in a much better position to creatively solve my problems. Whereas before, it's like, oh, I want to do more Amazon stuff. Oh, I want to get more coaching clients, like straightforward, like non-creative solutions. I'm convinced if I spent a couple more days like that, which I might do this weekend, that I might come up with some super creative, interesting way to do what I've been wanting to do. And it's going to make it 50 times better. Like I want to get coaching clients, and this thing that I come up with after a couple of days of being in this state, this sort of wandering, creating the creative state, I'm convinced that I'm going to come out of it and be like, oh my God, this thing. And I'm just going to do it. And it's going to be super fun. And then what's going to happen after that is I'm going to get a bunch of inbound lead flow for clients. And one of them is going to be super obvious. And they're going to be like, how can I pay you? And I'm just going to be like, yeah, you can send it through PayPal or whatever. We'll start working. And that'll be my best client so far. So if this resonated with you, I highly recommend that you go do something like that, regardless of where you're at, regardless of how much money you need. Take like $20, just 20 in your pocket, go around, to shops and feel confident about buying something or not buying something. I think I spent like $65 that day. 40 of it was on that mug. And I just kind of freely let that go and tipped generously at the places that I went to. And I know that that's coming back to me in the form of this creative boost that I've been really lacking for a while. Thank you for your interest. Thank you for your attention. Have a great night.